The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, and welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. I apologize for those that may have tuned in yesterday and didn't catch us, but being a holiday, we went ahead and took it off. So a little extra time off always helps, folks get their rest in and take care of some other things they might have had on their agenda. So anyway, today in the crew, we got Miss Carol. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, everyone.
And then my brother Pedro. You there, Pedro? I know he's working on some other stuff in the background, he said, but he is with us. So anyway, let me move on to our interest groups. Today we have Basic JAWS with Andrew Del Castillo. He's been with us from the beginning. Again, he's certified in all things JAWS. He's a lot of screen reader stuff as well. So he's MBDA, a lot of different stuff. So anyway, he'll be with us tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And something interesting, he's got a little lesson on how to write music with screen readers. So for those that are into writing music and stuff like that, it might be a very interesting class for you. So don't miss out. Come in, join us, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So anyway, I'm looking at, we have some very, very important landmark legislation that was actually done back in 73. Not California, but the U.S. What they call it, Rehabilitation Act, and specifically, I'm speaking about Section 504, which is basically. Well, let me just go to the article. I mean, are you there, Pedro? Are you ready to start it, or you want me to go do it? I don't know if he's let me get up there and do this. Give me a second, y'all. Here we go. Talk to you guys on the other side.
Today on Coffee Time, the fight for disability rights, why Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act matters. Before the passage of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, millions of Americans with disabilities faced widespread discrimination in nearly every aspect of life. Schools denied students with disabilities the right to an education. Employers refused to hire qualified workers simply because of their disabilities. Public spaces, transportation, and even healthcare facilities were inaccessible, leaving people with disabilities isolated from society. But thanks to the disability rights movement and the push for civil rights protections, Section 504 became the first federal law to prohibit disability discrimination, laying the foundation for future protections like the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Today, we're exploring why Section 504 was created, what it protects, and how it has transformed life for millions of people with disabilities. The fight for disability rights, why Section 504 was necessary. Throughout much of U.S. history, people with disabilities were excluded from public life. Schools, workplaces, and government services had no legal obligation to provide equal access or accommodations. Disability activists fought for change, demanding the same civil rights protections granted to other marginalized groups under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. In response, Congress passed the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which included Section 504, the first law to prohibit discrimination against people with disabilities in federally funded programs and services. This law marked a turning point, ensuring that disability rights were recognized as civil rights. What does Section 504 protect? 1. Protection against discrimination. Any school, employer, hospital, public service, or government agency that receives federal funding cannot discriminate against people with disabilities. This includes public universities, public transit, and healthcare facilities that receive federal aid. 2. Equal access to education. Public schools must provide accommodations to ensure students with disabilities have equal access to education. Students who don't qualify for special education under IDEA can still receive 504 plans, which provide accommodations such as extra time on tests, assistive technology, like speech-to-text software, modified classroom materials, preferential seating for better accessibility. 3. Workplace protections. Employers that receive federal funding cannot refuse to hire or promote qualified workers due to a disability. Employers must provide reasonable accommodations, including adaptive equipment, flexible work schedules, wheelchair-accessible offices. 4. Access to public services and healthcare. Government services, hospitals, and public transit must be accessible to people with disabilities. Healthcare providers must provide reasonable accommodations, such as sign language interpreters for deaf patients, wheelchair-accessible medical rooms. 5. Legal protections for disability discrimination. If an individual faces discrimination, they can file a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, OCR, or the U.S. Department of Justice. Individuals can also sue for violations of Section 504 if they are denied access to education, employment, or public services. How Section 504 transformed disability rights. 1. Empowered the disability rights movement. Section 504 set the stage for future disability laws like the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. It inspired major protests, including the 504 sit-in of 1977, where disability activists occupied federal buildings for nearly a month to demand enforcement of the law. 2. Increased accessibility nationwide. Public buildings, schools, and workplaces must remove barriers for people with disabilities. Curb cuts, ramps, assistive technology, and accessible restrooms became common across the U.S. 3. Expanded educational and employment opportunities. Millions of students with disabilities now have access to accommodations that help them succeed in school and college. People with disabilities have stronger workplace protections, allowing them to pursue meaningful careers without discrimination. Final thoughts, why protecting Section 504 matters today. Section 504 was a groundbreaking law that changed the lives of millions of people with disabilities, ensuring equal access to education, employment, healthcare, and public services. Without it, many of the rights and accommodations that exist today would not be guaranteed by law. However, disability rights are still under threat, with recent legal challenges questioning the scope and future of Section 504. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you or someone you know benefit from Section 504 protections? How has disability inclusion improved since this law was passed? What more needs to be done to ensure equal rights for people with disabilities? Let's talk about the impact of Section 504 and why disability rights matter. Now, back to the coffee time.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say it this way: if you disable, there's no way in the world you do not benefit from 504. I mean, again, a lot of people know about ADA and all that good stuff, but actually, the U.S. Rehabilitation Act of '73 is the one that actually got all of this stuff started, right? Uh, Man, it guarantees, like I said, reasonable accommodations. It makes sure that folks in wheelchairs got ramps, extra wide doorways, accessible bathrooms. I mean, it's just so many different things that 504 is, responsible for allowing us to be part of mainstream society. So I mean, it's crazy, but again, 504 is very, very important. So I heard you pop in, Pedro. What you got on this?
I was having trouble, so I was jumping back out and jumping back in. Sorry, but yeah, we all do benefit, So I couldn't hear the whole article, but they're trying to get rid of it. What's the article about, or?
The next article gives more detail. I played the first article
Mm-hmm.
as to why it was
Mm-hmm.
put in, became legislation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the disabled community as a whole had been discriminated against, forever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, the no accommodations in school, no public accommodations. I mean, think about how many people when we get on the bus. How many people in wheelchairs or whatever. You see, our buses are now wheelchair accessible, right?
Right.
Without this, we wouldn't have that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole lot of different stuff. So this one here was more about why it was created. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
and the grand scheme of, it basically was giving people in our community a set of civil rights, right?
Right.
So I mean, I know Carol, we was talking about it a little bit before. I mean, so you never understood what 504 was, Carol? You didn't know anything about it, right?
I did not. I had heard of, the ADA, but I had never knew what the numbers 504 exactly what it was. So it's just interesting to get a little bit background about when it started. Of course, I was 9 years old, but just having the right to be able to feel like you were independent in a system that accounted you for an individual instead of, labeling you as someone that was disabled and could not do anything or had any rights.
Right. Like a second or third class citizen or whatever. But
Right.
I mean, so my point being, we hear the term reasonable accommodations all the time. Most people associate that with ADA, but in actuality, it comes from this section 504.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, this is just something that has moved the disabled community forward, allowed people to, go to school and have a fair chance of getting a degree and
Mm-hmm.
following their dreams and pursuing a career in many different aspects. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
without it, man, I mean, where would we be? Where would we be? Probably back still making basket weaving or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just because and then look again, even though it was passed in '73, what was it? What did they say in '77? 4 years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They had to stage a sit-in because nobody was enforcing it.
That's right.
So the disabled community says, no, we got these rights now. We need to exercise our rights. And they went and staged a sit-in for 30 days.
Yes. That's what the
Okay.
article said. Yes.
And now look at where we are now. I mean, what building, there's no building that's put up that doesn't have a wheelchair ramp. There's no building that's put up that doesn't have accessible bathrooms and, again, a lot of different stuff. I mean, any company, I mean, look at how many people that are disabled work within the government. All that stuff never would have happened without 504. None of that would have happened. So,
Right.
but I mean, again, it's more about, I was just trying to give everybody a little background in this first one. There's only 2 articles. So, like I said, the first one was, why it was created. So the next one is going to be what's going on right now with it. So, I mean, if you want, Pedro, you can go on and play a couple commercials. And then I know it's still early, but again, there's a lot of stuff, conversation on the other side as far as what they're trying to do and what it's going to take away.
All right, all right. So we cut to a quick break, guys. We will be back.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United. You can go to customcane.com. That's custom with a K, guys. And what Custom Cane does is they sell cane and cane accessories. It's like Burger King. You can have it your way. You can get a pink cane, a blue cane, a rainbow cane, a Broncos cane, a Chargers cane, a cane with the Braille alphabet, a cane with your name on it. Whatever you want, whatever type of handle you want, whatever type of tip you want. If you want an aircraft aluminum cane, if you want an all-terrain cane, telescoping cane, any type of cane, Custom Cane has it.
All right. Well, and then again, I know you guys have heard this a million times. For those that listen in all the time, Jimmy is doing a lot of great work. Of course, that was an advertisement for Custom Cane, which is his little boutique on where you can go and order whatever kind of cane you want, right? Or cane accessories, whatever. But just I like to keep people, remind people, I should say, that all proceeds, profits from Custom Cane go into his You Cane Give initiative, where he actually helps out, goes around the planet to third world countries and helps people that wouldn't normally get a cane. They just finished a trip down in South Africa, out in the bush, where they went to 3 different schools. Again, I say out in the bush, right? That means there's no roads, no electricity, nothing but buildings and whatever. And there are actually blind children out there that have to not only travel a dirt road to get school, they have to cross a river to get there, and all that without a cane. So I'll always, as long as I've got breath in my lung, I will always support Jimmy and the work he's doing to help, folks in the community get canes that couldn't normally get a cane. So, but anyway, so now we're going to move into the reason why we're discussing the 504 today. I don't know. Let's just go ahead and play it, and then we'll have plenty of conversation on this on the other side.
Today on Coffee Time, the legal battle over Section 504, what's at stake for disability rights? A legal challenge is unfolding that could have far-reaching implications for individuals with disabilities. In Texas versus Becerra, a coalition of 17 states has filed a lawsuit against the federal government, challenging the interpretation and enforcement of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. While the case specifically questions the inclusion of gender dysphoria under Section 504, disability rights advocates warn that the lawsuit could erode broader protections for all individuals with disabilities. Let's explore what's at stake, what this lawsuit could mean for the future of disability protections, and why advocates are sounding the alarm. What is Section 504? Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act is one of the most important civil rights laws protecting individuals with disabilities. It ensures that no one is discriminated against in education, healthcare, employment, or public services if they receive federal funding. This law has been pivotal in securing accessibility rights, reasonable accommodations, and equal opportunities for people with disabilities. The lawsuit, Texas versus Becerra. 17 states, led by Texas, argue that the federal government has overstepped its authority by interpreting Section 504 to include protections for individuals with gender dysphoria. The plaintiffs claim this places undue burdens on state governments and institutions receiving federal funds. The states involved in the lawsuit include Texas, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Alaska, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, West Virginia. While the lawsuit's focus is on gender dysphoria, disability advocates fear that a ruling in favor of the plaintiffs could open the door to weakening Section 504 protections for all people with disabilities. Why advocates are concerned. Disability rights organizations warn that if the lawsuit is successful, the consequences could go beyond the issue of gender dysphoria. A ruling could weaken protections for people with disabilities in schools, hospitals, workplaces, and other federally funded spaces. Some potential outcomes include denial of accommodations. Schools, universities, and healthcare facilities could limit or refuse disability-related accommodations. Restricted access to services. Federal programs designed to support individuals with disabilities could be subject to increased legal challenges. Erosion of civil rights protections. A precedent could be set that allows states to challenge and weaken federal disability laws. The disability community responds. Disability rights advocates are urging individuals, particularly those in the 17 states involved in the lawsuit, to take action. Some organizations are calling on residents to contact their state attorneys general and express support for upholding Section 504 in its entirety. The fight over Section 504 is more than a legal dispute. It's a battle over whether disability rights remain fully protected under federal law. Final thoughts. What's next for Section 504? This lawsuit raises critical questions about the future of disability rights in America. Will Section 504 remain a strong and effective law protecting individuals with disabilities, or will legal challenges chip away at its foundation? What do you think? Should states have the power to challenge federal disability protections? How could a ruling against Section 504 impact individuals with disabilities beyond this case? What can be done to safeguard disability rights for future generations? Let's discuss. Now, back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So let's get into this first thing where they're using gender dysphoria as their basis for bringing this lawsuit. Well, clearly gender dysphoria has been categorized as a disability. Otherwise, it would not fall within these guidelines, right? For those that may not understand what it was, I didn't either. I asked my smart device, and it said it goes everything from gender, psychological gender identification, all the way to folks that are born with dual genitalia. Again, it's classified as a disability, so But we do know that a lot of folks have a thing against, gender ID now, especially with this new administration. Everybody's paying attention to them 17 states. There wasn't a blue state in that list. They're all red states, right? So by going in and chipping away, even if they are able to remove the one from the list, right? You're setting precedents. You're allowing them to remove this. What's to say that at some point they don't remove the visually impaired instead of being totally blind? Oh well, you got some sight, so you don't qualify no more. Even though you can't count how many fingers you're holding up, or somebody else is holding up, whatever, right? You're still. It just again it sets precedent. I mean, I hate to go here, but they talk about making America great again. Is this truly making America great again? I mean, come on now. I mean, the 504 made it great for disabled community. It allowed us to move forward and become a part of mainstream society. It allowed us to move forward and become productive members of society. Now you want to take all that away? You want to put us back in the Stone Age where people can now discriminate against us because we're blind or we're in a wheelchair or we're, quadriplegic, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever disability you may have. That's all you're doing. You're opening the door to create that discrimination once again. So that's my take on
And
it.
and I'm
Go.
very surprised that Texas is in it because our governor down here, Greg Abbott, he's in a wheelchair. But again, we're a red state, so a lot of these things, even though he is in a wheelchair, does not include him because he's able to get anything that he needs, drivers to take him here or there, or a private jet to take him here or there, where an average, citizen like myself who's blind or someone that's in a wheelchair, they're not going to be able to do the things that he's able to do. And again, like you're saying,
Hmm.
they're trying to put it on gender instead of blindness or someone who is mentally, say, schizophrenic or things of that sort. That's the one that they're trying to really push. Who can go to this restroom, who can play this type of sport based on whatever. And
Hmm.
it's inexclusive for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, and you're correct, Carol. But also the percentage of college or professional sports that have someone from a different gender playing on a league that's a male league or female league is less. It's like a 1%. Also, it is sad too that someone that's in a wheelchair is is willing to take this out, and you know what I mean, even though it benefits him. Sometimes we do have people that sometimes vote against their what benefits them, especially when it comes to disability. Sometimes as the blind community, we're an afterthought, you know, when it
Right.
comes to a new gadget, a new type of system, and maybe even a building. We're someone sometimes always the last ones to get accommodated, you know.
Well, I mean, again, okay, let's stick with him and being in a wheelchair. He wouldn't even be able to get into his office if it wasn't for the 504. Wouldn't be no wheelchair ramps.
That's
Okay,
right.
what's he gonna do? Pay a couple people to pick his butt up and carry him up the steps or whatever to get in the office?
That's
Hmm.
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Uh, all that other kind of stuff. I mean, again, but you know, there he's probably going to justify his actions based on the gender thing, right? Oh
Right.
no, well we're not going after the folks in the wheelchairs. We're not going after Okay, I mean, I hear you, but you're opening the door. You're setting precedents to start chipping away at disability rights.
That's right.
Okay. Now, if you want to do something, if that's the way you feel about it, whatever, go and try to get that reclassified to where it's not a disability. Leave the disability rights alone. Okay. If you don't believe that, that this is a disability, you don't believe that people have mental health issues, you don't believe that people are born with, dual genitalia, whatever the case may be, then go in and see what you can do about getting that, reclassified. But when you go and you start attacking civil rights of the disabled community, you're opening the door, like I said. Next thing you know, oh, okay, well, because you're not total, you're not, you don't need all this, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
just you're just opening the door for all of that stuff. So it's really, really a sad day. With everything else that's going on, again, they want to take us back to where we're considered to be second, possibly third class citizens. They'd probably be happy if we were locked up in an asylum somewhere. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
know, but that's the impression that they're giving us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
it
know,
forces us to just be diligent and come out as a group to fight for our rights. A lot of us just kind of sit back by the wayside and let others do. But now it's time for us to stand up and fight for what's been there in existence for us all of these years. We have to. Otherwise, we're going to lose the battle.
I mean, exactly, Carol. I mean, just like it says in there, man, reach out to your, your state, your Texas Attorney General. Say, look, no, uphold the rights of the disabled. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
all this other kind of stuff. Reach out to your local. I mean, I don't know who your congressman is or whatever, and hopefully it ain't Cruz, but uh,
It is.
oh
It's
my
Ted
goodness.
Cruz. Yes.
Well, I mean, maybe you might have to work more on the state level. You know what I'm saying? But again, if we just stand back and don't do anything, we're gonna lose it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I
Yes.
mean, on YouTube, I watch a lot of the First Amendment auditors. I mean, I don't know if you guys know what they are, but one of their most common phrases is, our rights are like muscles. If we don't exercise them, we lose them. And
I
these
like
are
that.
our rights that they're trying to take away. And we need to exercise our right. We need to stand up and fight for our rights.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, 17 states. That's a lot of states.
It is.
That's a lot of different states. You know what I'm saying? And let me go here. It ain't like it's coming out of the state budget. I mean, all of this money eventually is coming from the feds. You know, I mean, it's crazy the way these people are thinking about this stuff. Oh Lord, it's some crazy times we're living in right now. Yeah,
Very, very scary.
there's some crazy, crazy times we're living in. So, anyway, I do encourage everyone to do whatever they can. I mean, right now, as within these 17 states, I mean, you know, again, depending on who your congressman is or whatever, you know, I would say reach out to your congressman, reach out to your senators, and so on and so forth. But if they depending on how far to the right they are, they're just you're not going to get nowhere with them. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, 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 and then again, they don't want to hear from folks like myself because I'm not a constituent. I live way out here in California. Oh, whatever you think, it doesn't matter to me. You don't live in my state. So I mean, I'm sorry, but the fight right now is on the people within those 17 states. I mean, I'd say reach out to, our congressmen and our senators, no matter where we are, because eventually all of this stuff has got to go for a vote. Eventually, it all has to go through a vote. And the more people that we have, on the side of, of upholding the rights of our community, the disabled community, the better off we are, So, uh, man, I mean, I put it out there again. I was trying to see, ain't nobody commenting. Maybe we don't have nobody watching us today. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true. If we don't fight for it and it goes away, it might not come away. I believe it still needs work to be done within the that, to bring it to the modern era. It was done back in 1970, back in the 70s. It might need
Yeah,
an
this
update.
this was done in '73. The disability. I'm sorry, the U.S. Rehabilitation Act.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean 504 is just one section of it, but it was landmark in the fact that it gave us civil rights. It gave us protection under the law as a disabled community. And by the way, Katie, we do have Katie popped in. She said good morning. So good morning to you as well, Katie. So, uh, uh, man, again, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Updates. I mean, again, they're stacking all the chips on this one gender thing, right?
Right.
Man, again, leave our rights alone. If you don't believe that is considered a disability, then go and do what you can to get that classified as something else. Okay? Right now, it's classified as a disability, and right now, it's covered under 504. Okay? I mean, if it's still classified as a disability, I mean, why try to remove it? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to remove it as, one of the things that gets protection. Well, as long as it's a disability, it's protected. Just like, autism, just like, Down syndrome, just like blindness, just like, polio, just whatever, bipolarism, whatever mental health, whatever physical disability you have, it's covered under the 504. To remove it is not the way to do this. The way to do it is to go and see if you can get it reclassified. Now, I mean, that's just my opinion on it. So,
No, but
but
I agree with you. It makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense, to just reclassify it as something else. Because, like you say, once they start chipping, who's to say that
Mhm.
blindness won't be next, or someone with polio, or someone, that's in a wheelchair? So
Yeah.
reclassify it so that we all can feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
and plus let's keep it 100. Which I like to do anyway. Within the far right, they say one thing. Okay, yeah, we're going after it because of this gender thing. Boom, boom, boom. But bottom line, it might be part of their game plan. Okay, well, no, we're just using that to get the door open.
Hmm.
Their whole plan might be the way to go in and chip away at this.
Right.
They're using this one issue just to get the door open. And then next thing you know, nobody, like I said, next thing you know, we're, second, third class citizens again. We're, totally dependent on, social programs to keep us alive, which they're trying to cut those as well, right?
Right.
So where we gonna be? Homeless in a wheelchair, homeless blind, homeless. Your disabled community is gonna be what? Homeless. Then what are you gonna do with us? Ship
Yeah.
us off to Guantanamo Bay as well?
In the
Uh,
most powerful country, the richest country, and you're planning to set disabled people to the side, you know. But yeah, this good topic right here.
It
I
really
mean,
is.
and I'm gonna give credit to Wesley, one of our
Listener.
participants within our groups.
Hmm.
I, being honest, I didn't see it in the news nowhere because again, mainstream media, they don't put stuff like this out, right?
No.
But Wesley, I believe Wesley's in New Jersey. He's one of
Hmm.
our local loyal participants in a lot of our interest groups. So he brought it to my attention, shot an email to me about it, and I started looking into it. And I mean, I did have 3 articles, but the last 2 ended up being kind of redundant. So I said, okay, well, let me just break it down to 2. But again, I wanted to show why it was created, and I mean, look at the idiotic reason why they want to start chipping away at it. I mean, come on, it's already been proven. This stuff, this gender identity thing, this has been around forever. This is nothing new. Quit acting like this is something that just got started in the last 10 years. Okay? You claim to be, the party of Christian values and all this, and woo, 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 even though the little red man can't quote not one chapter, not one verse, not one scripture out of the Bible. But my point being, gender gender identity was mentioned in the Bible. What was Sodom and Gomorrah?
That's right.
Anybody that's read the Bible, they know what Sodom and Gomorrah is. And so, I mean, if it was around back then to be written in the Bible, what makes you think it's new?
Hmm.
Okay. What about the fact that you're talking about being all this and all that when it comes to Christianity? What is it? What is it? Why? He that cares for the least of thee. What about that part?
Hmm. Hmm. And
Yeah.
in that note, we're gonna take a quick break, guys.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United. Do you need to talk? Are you struggling with your mental health? Are you struggling with substance abuse issues? Call the Orange County NAMI Warm Line. That number is 877-910-9276. That number again is 877-910-9276.
Well, also, Tisha says good morning. Good morning, Tisha. So, I mean, again, folks, I mean, again, we got to just pay attention to what's going on around us. We got to, it's very, very, very important right now at this time that, we stand up for what's right and not let, the will of a handful of people dictate what goes on within the rest of the country, because that's I mean, that's just, I'm sorry, that's my opinion, that's the way it's going right now. I mean, all of these things, again, this 504 thing, it has allowed not only the blind community but the disabled community as a whole to advance and become part of mainstream society, become productive members of mainstream society. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this. Before all of this, disabled folks weren't even allowed to really have children. Okay, they would actually what they call it, give them vasectomies and whatever, all this
Tubal
other
ligations. Mm-hmm.
tubal ligations and all this other kind of stuff to sterilize them
That's right.
because they didn't want the disabled community. They were in fear that the disabled community was going to breed more disabled folks. Well, time has shown that that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. I know blind couples that have children, three, four children, five children, and none of them are disabled. None of them are blind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I
We
mean,
know.
now don't get me wrong. That there are some that do what, but the reason is because of the eye disease that the parent has, right?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, myself, I'm not blind because of a disease. I'm blind because of an accident. Okay. I've had, children since I became blind. It ain't nothing wrong with them. I've had
Hmm.
children before I lost my sight. Ain't nothing wrong with them. Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask, but
But yeah, there's another little issue, and I have a couple that's are my friends. They've been married over I think 30 years. They have around two, three kids. They have their own house, and they both blind. And I heard from different people that been in the blind community that sometimes they're not encouraged to have a baby. So sometimes the blind women don't get to experience that, and I believe that that's wrong. There's ways to do things. You can parent as a blind, as a blind parent.
Yes. Sight has
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. Even though I don't have children, but I do know someone that's blind that,
Hmm.
has been trying to adopt a baby and they deny her every time because they feel like she's unable to even
Oh
be able to
wow.
tend to a newborn. And, it's so many people that are looking for homes.
Hmm.
And here it is, it's someone that's willing. And just based on the fact that she cannot see disqualifies her, that's awful.
Yeah, someone might need to advocate for her, or a
Yes.
an organization, but being blind doesn't prevent you from being a parent. Yes, there is
not at all.
things you have to do different. There's
Right.
different ways of doing things. Um, so I think it can be done. I did it with my daughter. I actually went blind. I only got to see her one time when she was a baby, and then I went blind, and I took care of her. I changed her diapers. I used to take them to the park, all that stuff. Walk them to school, go to their school plays, go to their parent conference,
You still
things like
do.
that. And I still do. Yeah, I still do.
Right.
I'm
So,
there. You
right
know.
quick, Paul commented, if the parents of their special needs children don't say anything, they already losing. I mean, they got to stand up for the rights of their kids.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm gonna go back to,
You're right, Paul. Paul's right. Good morning too.
yeah.
Good
Uh, uh,
morning.
there's a there was a it wasn't that long ago, maybe a little over 10 years ago, whatever it is. There was a big case down in Arkansas. I think Arkansas was on that list, wasn't it?
It was.
Uh, where they literally, and it's not the only place, but it was this one here made the news. They took the kids away from a blind couple. Oh,
Wow.
you're blind. You can't raise your kids. We taking them,
That's
right?
terrible.
I mean, again, that was terrible. I mean, on that one, as I remember it, the NFB got involved with it. The NFB went down there, and the NFB, created some awareness, and also, and bottom line, they got their kids back. Thank God they got their kids back. I mean, again, yeah, it's just like anything else. No, I can't drive a car no more, but I can still wash dishes. I might not wash them the same way I used to wash them when I was sighted, but I can wash, right? I mean,
Right.
it's so I can cook. I may not be able to cook the same way I could cook when I had sight, but I can still cook.
That's right.
You know, I mean, again, parenting. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, we adapt. We are the masters of adapting,
That's
right?
right.
Because why? We have to.
Hmm.
If we want to live a normal life, live our best life, then we have to adapt to our situation and our disability in order to be able to do all of these things. So I mean, again, wake up, everybody. Man, we ain't even a good 30 days up into this stuff yet. And man, it is getting raggedy and raggedy and raggedy. So I mean, we've got to be diligent. We've got to be aware, and we got to stand up. We got to stand up. So, man, oh Lord, this time I
It
mean,
is.
I'm being
It's
honest.
overwhelming.
I'm glad I live in a blue state right now. I really am.
Makes me want to move, but I've been here my whole life. But like you say, you have to stand up for your rights. It's about knowledge. If you don't know enough, you're going to fall off the ledge. It's knowledge. And I know that I am considered handicapped, but I'm handicapable. It's a lot of things that like I have to do different. Like you say, I live alone, but I've got to wash my own dishes, my clothes, my body, clean my home. Do everything that I used to do. Just have to adapt to do it a different way. And it's sad that they're trying to take my rights away. I have to, especially in a state of Texas where I have a governor that's in a wheelchair and is not even fighting for us based on the exclusion of someone who uh, is different genderly or what do you call it, dual genitalia, that type of thing. So uh, that needs to be completely changed. And I'm going to definitely try to do something about it. I'm one voice, but with many, we can do so much more because 17 states is too many.
Well, you break it up a little bit, Carol, but I did hear what you were saying. But uh, I mean, again, it's just totally crazy. We got to do what we can. We got to do all we can. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and right now, again, even with this, like I said, even though we may not live in one of those states, uh, uh, like I said, eventually all this stuff has to go through Congress, or it all has to go through the Senate, right? So, bottom line, even though we don't live in one of those states, reach out to your congressman, reach out to your senators. You know what I'm saying? Get them to sign on to help protect all these rights. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't afford to lose them. We can't afford to go backwards. We've got to go forward. I mean, it's just that simple. It's really just that simple. So, uh, anyway, wow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I just keep thinking about, man, what would life be like if, you know, how about this one? I mean, we had this conversation last night, and, I mean, how many times, you get a call from your insurance provider or whatever, they want to do, whatever annual report on you, whatever health assessment. They always got something to justify them charging, the insurance, right?
Right.
How about this? They always ask us, right? So, especially I mean, I know for sure us in the blind community, who do you live with? What do you mean? Who do I live with? I live by myself. Well, who
Hmm.
takes care of you? I take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just total lack of awareness, right? Of our abilities. You know, I mean, being honest, we don't need anybody to do anything for us. Yes, it is very helpful. Like my daughter, she goes and does my grocery shopping and stuff for me. It just makes it easier, but that does not mean that I cannot do it.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, she's helping me out because she's my daughter. But if she wasn't in the game, she wasn't in the picture, guess what? I know how to go to the store. You know, and today with today's technology, man, I can walk in the store. I can give me one of them Be My Eyes volunteers with my Meta Ray Bans. I say, okay, look, I need to go shopping. You know, and I can walk right through that store just like I got eyes. I can have them help me. You know, okay, I'm looking for this aisle. I'm looking for that aisle. Whatever, right? And then take me. Okay, well, once we get in that aisle, okay, I'm looking for this product. I'm looking for that product. You know what I'm saying? And they can help me pick that up. You know, oh, I'm looking for an 8 ounce can, or I'm looking for a 15 ounce can, whatever. They can help me read the label on the can, whatever the case may be. We can get it done if we have to. We pride ourselves on being independent. And it's because of this type of legislation that we have been afforded the opportunity and the opportunity to receive the training to become independent, productive members of society. That's what this legislation has done for us. So, on that note, I mean, we got a few minutes left, about four of them. So, any final thoughts, Carol, on this?
Like you're saying, just the freedom of being able to get out, you know, that's how important this is. It does not isolate us or allow us to require someone else that's visual to help us. And that for me is a game changer, you know, because
Right.
when I first became blind, I just felt like it was nothing that I couldn't do without the assistance of someone visual. And, you know, that changes everything about you. But learning and being around individuals that show me and teach me how to do better, you know, each one teach one. And for us not to be able to stand up for these rights that are given to us, it it makes me sad. So I'm gonna fight because now that I have this available to me and I know that I'm able to be a productive citizen of society,
Right.
I can't let this fall by the wayside.
Right. Well, right quick. Well, I'm gonna commend her. Tisha put in the comments. I wasn't going to put her business out there, but she put it out there. Uh, she had her son taken away from her, and blindness played a part in that, right? But again, she didn't give up. She kept fighting. She kept fighting, and now she has her son back, right?
Mm.
So again, it ain't like that this stuff is not still happening. And if you allow the stuff like what they're trying to do right now to continue, it's going to be very, very common for this stuff to happen. It's going to happen all over the place. It's going to happen to, family members, friends, a whole lot of folks that you wouldn't recognize, But again, we got to do something. We got to stand up. We got to fight. Don't let them just do us this way, y'all. Please.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that is true. And just to give I know if y'all been in our Facebook, just seen that we went to the Abilities Expo, and if you came to our table, thank you for coming to our table. We had a great time. Blind United was out there. They were unveiling a new playground that is for wheelchair people, blind people, for people with disabilities. And that was a great turnout right there.
Right. And and you can look to see Blind United, especially here in Southern California. We're going to try to be out and about at a lot more of those types of events, just to let people know we're here and we're trying to help within the community and all that stuff. So again, as always, thank everybody. Please like, subscribe. Well, I get tired of saying this, but again, it helps. So again, please like, subscribe, follow, comment, share, whatever you can do on whatever platform you're checking us out on. Please do it. It does help. Don't forget to join us tonight. Andy is going to be trying to teach us how to write music using a screen reader. So, wow. But we can't do nothing. We're disabled. So, anyway, again, thank everybody for coming out and hanging with us on this Tuesday. And everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And we will talk to you again on the other side tomorrow. Have a great day.